What's up guys, Champ here, and I wanted to talk about why Space Marine 2 PvP isn't what it seems. I kinda got my hands a bit late on the game, but I've been playing this game a lot recently and have also played all the classes thoroughly to the point where I can get 20 kills whenever I want, with some strategizing of course. I haven't come across any videos that have explicitly pointing out the negatives of the game, but I wanted to start off now by saying I do not hate the game at all, but want it to get better because it has the potential to be a very good game. I wanted to start off with the content being bare bones. There's only 3 game modes: Annihilation, which is basically team deathmatch, Capture and Control, which is basically King of the Hill, and Seize Ground, which is Domination. For some reason, I get Capture and Control and Seize Ground mixed up, probably because the names could fit either game mode. I don't really know. Annihilation, in my opinion, is probably the worst game mode of the 3 because I'd say it's a 50-50 chance on whether or not the enemy team you're facing or your team is together like a unit or just gonna scatter all over the place. When they're scattered, it's incredibly annoying and frustrating trying to find them, and the score limit is set to 50 kills, which makes the game short. I don't know about you guys, but I'm the type of player who focuses on getting a lot of kills with the least amount of deaths always being my goal. That's just how it is on all PvP games. The score limit being set to 50 makes the matches feel like they end before they really even begin. Capture and Control and Seize Ground are right up my alley though. There's only 3 maps: Cathedral, Mausoleum, and Bastion. Bastion is probably my favorite map of the 3 because it has 3 clear lanes and isn't as complex as Cathedral and Mausoleum, working well with all 3 game modes in my opinion. It also might be the smallest of the 3, or maybe it's because nobody really is on the outskirts unless the objective is there. The only thing I don't like about Bastion is that the middle lane has a lot of fog or like mist, making it very hard to see enemies to the point where you have to tag them to give them that red outline to see them clearly. Cathedral is second because there's a lot of freedom on where to move from and where to go. This works well with the objective-based game modes like Capture Control and Seize Ground, but not with Annihilation because it's very hard finding players when everyone is scattered, like I said before. Mausoleum is the same way, but feels more constricted on movement unless you're playing a class that is centered around mobility, like Vanguard or Assault class, making it my least favorite map in the game. And now that I think about it, I'm actually surprised that they didn't have any PvP maps of the maps in the operations mode. They have like, what, 6 or something like that? It's a bit of a missed opportunity, in my opinion. Now with matchmaking and team dynamics. Matchmaking is another part of the game that is really lacking and pretty much non-existent. Most matches that I play, for the most part, are incredibly one-sided, making the game not very fun at all whenever I'm on the winning or losing team. Players often leave, giving the enemy team an even bigger advantage. This is incredibly annoying because, well, obviously you're a couple men short, but it's also annoying when you're the one joining a game late to a losing team, fighting an uphill battle where the enemy team already has the rhythm. Most of the time, if not all the time, I would say I'm either on or facing a team with new players. There's only one time in particular that I can think of where I was in a match filled with high-level players that actually gave some good games until we were either split up or maybe left for one reason or another. I've also noticed that rarely do I see teammates have this gaming sense that I would see in other PvP games like Overwatch or something, where you can strategize or just be tactical in how you play. For example, in objective-based game modes, if you play the heavy class, you can lock an area down, preventing or discouraging enemy players from crossing your path and possibly trying to get to the objective. I don't really know, but it could be a lack of a minimap. I'm not upset or anything that they didn't add it, but the only way you can tell when there are enemies nearby, when they are scanned or tagged, or when a teammate dies, which then show the skull icon in that general area. The problem with this though is that if you're not in a gunfight or something, you're probably not going to be able to see all these things unless you're facing in that direction. In terms of classes, I don't really have much to say, but maybe a few critiques. For starters, when I first started playing the game, I was rather surprised there was no medic class where you could pick up down teammates or give players health or something like that. The closest thing to a medic class would be the Bulwark class, which heals armor when you plant the banner, but that's not health. Maybe in the future they can introduce a medic class that can heal for a very small amount of time in a vicinity like the Bulwark class with a somewhat long cooldown or something. I also expected some improvements with the Vanguard class, In patch 4.0, they made it where the Vanguard class can get from point A to point B quicker, which was a plus, but I still hope they add an animation for pulling yourself up onto platforms instead of having to aim precisely at an angle somewhere higher and fall onto the platform and pray you don't bounce and fall off. With the heavy class, I hope they allow players to have the freedom to use the barrier whenever they want to. For example, I often turn the ability on when the gunfight between me and another player starts to give me an advantage, but I turn it off right when I kill the player so the ability can fully recharge faster. The problem with this though is that sometimes another player comes out of nowhere and I can't use the ability again, making it a disadvantageous situation for me. I think a good caveat to this would be that if the heavy class can use whatever juice is left in the tank, it has to start off with whatever color the barrier was last seen at, indicating how badly damaged it was prior to being turned off. If you want a fully restored barrier, you have to let it fully recharge for it to be brand new. I don't know, just an idea. Now I want to talk about the Assault class. The Assault class is honestly the most broken class in the game. At first, because I was on the receiving end of this class so much in the beginning, I hated it to the point where I didn't want to play it at all. It was the last class I played, and after trying it, I knew it was fun playing this class, but didn't know how much fun it actually was. With the Thunderhammer and the ability to fly up in the air 3 times, the Assault class can slam down on enemies, often catching them completely off guard. Which is unfair when you're on the receiving end of it because there's really nothing you can do but pray to God that they miss, or hope your teammates are in the area to help shoot them down, or drop a grenade and just die with them, but you know, at least you got the kill. I do really think they need a slight nerf and probably add a cooldown that lasts for a second or two before they can fly back up in the air again, because it's just incredibly unfair to be able to slam on top of people back to back, especially when you can stop mid-air only a couple of feet above somebody. Another powerful tool in the Assault class's arsenal is the Melt-A-Bomb. It's incredibly unfair to just become a World War II bomber flying over enemies and dropping nukes on people's foreheads, but it does feel good when they're all grouped up, just wiping the entire team, or half the team that's just on the objective. I think what makes this worse is that the sound design in this game is incredibly inconsistent because sometimes you can't hear footsteps even though they're right behind you, or hear a jetpack that's literally nearby or above you, so you're caught completely off guard, becoming somebody's next victim. I also think the spawning system is poor. I remember vividly when I first started playing this game that both my team and the enemy team were spawning on the same side, but they quickly understood what was happening and took full advantage of killing us immediately when we spawned. It just wasn't a good time, to say the least. There usually is a force field or a delay to prevent immediate damage after you spawn that I think would deter people from spawn camping, and it still occurs occasionally. Also, I wanted to point out that there are cheaters in the game now. I've only came across one, and I'm not entirely sure why anybody would cheat in this game in particular. It's not like Rainbow Six Siege or something where there's like a ranked mode or something. But this dude was just chucking grenades left and right, and if he shot at you and hit you, you were like stunned and you couldn't do anything about it. But yeah, he just kept on throwing grenades just left and right. Like he had an unlimited amount of grenades and I was literally counting them down. That's really it though. I'm sure there's some things that I missed or forgot to say, but these were the biggest things that stood out to me and I wanted to personally address. Leave a comment in the comment section if there's anything else that needs to be talked about or pointed out that you wish could be added or changed. Thank you for watching and have a good one.